So with Dana White dropping some big fight news such as UFC 320 and UFC 321, I thought I'd make my dream main card for UFC 321. So as the co-main, I'd have Virna Jandiroba versus Zhang Weili in the women's strawweight division. I think Virna Jandiroba is the most fitting prospect as she's ranked 1, coming off a brilliant win against Yan Xiaonan, and she showcased her striking a lot in that matchup, and she could obviously threat the submission against Zhang Weili. I do favour Zhang Weili to win this match, but yeah, I think it'd be a good fight. I think it's one of the best fights you can make for women's MMA, and I think it'd be quite entertaining. One of the cons though is that it would be 5 rounds. Now obviously if it's a good fight that would be brilliant to see, but if it was, slow and they wouldn't really get started, obviously they have the 5 rounds, and I'm not sure how Virna Jandiroba would perform in those 5 rounds. Then I'd have the featured fight as Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Now, Paddy Pimblett's been matched up against Ilia Topuria. Obviously, he did the face-off after Ilia won the belt at 155 pounds. But I believe that both of them need one more fight for a title shot. Justin Gaethje's been saying, he only fights for titles now. I think you make him take this fight. He hasn't earned a title shot yet. He's on a 1-fight win streak. And Paddy Pimblett needs to show himself a bit more. Obviously, beat a washed Michael Chandler, but I don't think that's enough to go straight into a title shot. And seems they both need one last fight. Obviously, this would be a title eliminator. I do think Arman Tsarukyan's next for the belt, but then after that, I believe it's one of these two, depending on the winner of this fight. And I think this fight would be obviously a really good fight. I think Paddy Pimblett would threaten takedowns, and I think it could go on the ground for a bit. But obviously, I do think both men would want to stand up and strike for this fight, and I think it'd be a really good 3-round fight. I could have this as the co-main, obviously, because this for 5 rounds could be a lot better. But I would like 2 title fights with a women's MMA title fight as the co-main. And then for the featherweight division, I'd have Arnold Allen versus Yair Rodriguez. These guys are close in the rankings. I believe Yair is ranked 4 and Arnold Allen's ranked 5. So this would be a title eliminator for the featherweight division. Obviously with Diego Lopez and John Silva, that's obviously the winner of that is getting another title shot. But I'd like to see this as well, as I don't think Yair Rodriguez has earned his title shot yet, and I don't think Arnold Allen has either. So I think this would be a good fight to match them up together. Maybe one more win they would need after this fight to get a title shot, but I feel like this would be a really good striking matchup, good to see. I think this would be a really entertaining 3-round fight to have on the main card. Yair Rodriguez, he's not going to take you down, he's not going to go to the ground, he's going to do some flashy striking. And Arnold Allen, I'd have him on this card because obviously Tom Aspinall's from England, so is Arnold Allen, and I feel like you would have you'd have that theme for the Abu Dhabi card. So yeah, I wanted to throw in an English fighter, and both of them could make the turnaround. Obviously, Yair Rodriguez's last fight was a couple months ago, but it was against Patricio Pitbull, and I feel like he could make the turnaround for the end of the first fight on the card. I'd have Steve Garcia versus Yusuf Zalal. Now, both of these fighters are coming off wins against Calvin Kattar. Obviously, Yusuf Zalal in February beat Calvin Kattar pretty dominantly in that 3-round bout, and then Steve Garcia's also just done the same thing. They're both very similar in the rankings. Steve Garcia's just got into the rankings. I believe he's ranked 12. And Yusuf Zalal is ranked 7, I believe. So this would be a good fight to have, obviously. And it's good to test them both because they're both coming in over wins against Calvin Kattar, which doesn't really say much about their skill. But I feel like this would be a good fight, as both fighters have a really similar style to me. And they're both just really similar to me. I feel like it'd be a really good fight to have. Obviously, Yusuf Zalal went to a decision with Ilia Topuria, which has aged well, and Steve Garcia has this knockout power, and he's a big prospect for the featherweight division, so I feel like this would be good to see. The only con about this is that Steve Garcia recently fought. I feel like he could make the turnaround for October 25th, that's when this card would be, but yeah, I feel like this would be a good matchup to have in the featherweight division. So that is my dream card for UFC 321, Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. Obviously I didn't make any prelims, I just wanted to keep this short and just do the main card, but yeah. I'll be making my predictions for the upcoming fight night soon enough, but yeah, bye for now.